Welcome back. Well, it was the hottest day of the year to date, 98 degrees this afternoon. So let's get it over to the weather wall. 98, by the way, same temperature we had this time last year. Not saying we're going to have the same summer as last year, but we're on the way to setting at least more overnight low records, and we did that today, 81 degrees, beating the record of 80. When do you guess that happened? In 2023, just a year ago. So our nighttime lows continue to creep closer to 80 versus the mid-70s, the 30-year average, which is getting more and more weighted toward what we have seen over the last several 5 to 10 years. Now, June, the numbers are in, and it was the 6th hottest on record. So here we go again, beating most of the 131 years of data, and 6 of the top 10 hottest years have occurred in the last 15 years on record. Of course, it's been hotter in other climates, but we're talking about where we live, and this trend continues to reflect the Gulf of Mexico being 4 to 5 degrees hotter than it was in the late 20th century. So we're measuring that specifically in those overnight lows. So that's what's tilting our numbers, and sooner than later, 1953, 1914 will be knocked out, and we're going to have all these records are all going to occur within a 20 or 30 year span. That's the trend we're seeing. It's a mathematical certainty the way it's working out. Here's the big picture. High pressure dominating, coming back closer to us, allowing for storms today along the Sabine River and then into eastern Texas. But we have a few isolated cells developing off to the east of us. So let's dial into the regional Doppler radars. We can see more activity back to the west. And then we said in the last weathercast at 5 o'clock, we hope this activity picks up in intensity. This way, we'll get a chance of some of the storms over by Baton Rouge, making it to Lafayette, or at least portions of Acadiana. We do have a nice little thunder shower down toward the Pecan Island area, but that's about it. Another little isolated cell southwest of Abbeville, west of the Henry area. But this is the activity that may move across the Chaffalay Basin through the evening hours and reach portions of Acadiana, say between 8:30 and about 10 o'clock tonight. So still hope for a few showers, but after 10, most of these showers will probably be diminishing. The big story is the heat. Heat advisory for southwest Louisiana, excessive heat warning for eastern portions of Acadiana, including Lafayette, with heat indices anywhere between 112 to 114, 115. That's what we saw today. We're going to see it probably again tomorrow. With fewer storms in the vicinity, we were hoping this activity was going to be placed more over us this afternoon. Thus, the Weather Service was going with high rain chances for today. We kind of toned those down, and we'll see what we get tomorrow, but rain chances not too terribly high. In the tropics, here's the remnants of Chris. That's done with. Here's another system out in the Atlantic, but the odds of development are a little bit lower than the last couple of days. So there's good news on both of those fronts. The bad news is we're still dealing with Beryl. We'll have more on that system. Chris making landfall and just producing some heavy rains, and you can see it's pretty much dissipated, crossing over the Occidental Petroleum Mountains. And then we get out to the Atlantic. This tropical wave not looking too good, as we said, and another one coming off the African coast. No concern right now. The big story has been Hurricane Beryl here, really getting wound up. This is an intense hurricane, high-end Category 4 storm with 150-mile-per-hour winds. We'll see how the pressure goes later on tonight. We'll get an update at 7 and then another one at 10 o'clock tonight, but pressures are dropping, so this is going to be close to a Category 5, at least in the near term. It stays a 4, more than likely a major storm. May weaken a little bit as it encounters some shear in the Western Caribbean, but notice Jamaica here under the gun, hurricane watch. And what I've been doing this year versus last year's, I'm keeping it in concert with the National Hurricane Center, showing the orange right here. That's the radius of hurricane force winds, yellow tropical storm force winds. And this is why we're doing this, because notice the cone size. We're getting really good on where the center of the storm is going to go, but the impacts of the storm will be well away and outside of the cone. So you always have to remember that. Right now, it looks like the system will cross the Yucatan, weaken significantly. Thereafter, it should be a shell of a storm, but may have a little bit of a northwestward trek. Bottom line, though, this one still is earmarked for Mexico twice, once the Yucatan, and then it looks like eastern Mexico. But we'll watch the trends to see if there's any northward turn toward Texas. But right now, it looks like high pressure is going to be the dominant feature on the northern Gulf Coast, so that should keep things relatively at bay for us, and that is the good news there. So tomorrow, just a few showers and thunder showers in the forecast. As we head into Wednesday, a better scattering of showers and thunder showers showers expected, but the bottom line, the heat is going to dominate. Temperatures near 80 tonight, back into the mid to upper 90s tomorrow with that heat index way up there, pushing the 110, 115 degree range across most of Acadiana. And that can happen anytime from 10 in the morning through the evening hours. Look, we don't go below 100 degrees until 9 or 10 o'clock tomorrow night. Last night, we were at 100 degrees on the heat index at 10 p.m. Tonight should be no different. Rain chances there, but not dominant, and the heat will be the most dominant feature. Highs in the mid-90s and lows flirting with 80 degrees each and every night as we go through the first 11 days of July. That's it for weather for now. We'll have more coming up in just a little bit.